Welcome to Cronos Technical Review, your trusted source for daily Cardano market analysis, charts, and technical insights. This video is for educational and informational purposes only. I am not a financial advisor, and nothing in this video should be considered financial or investment advice. Cryptocurrency markets are highly volatile, and you should always do your own research before making any investment decisions. Any price analysis, predictions, or market insights shared in this video are based on personal opinions and publicly available data. I am not responsible for any financial losses you may incur based on the information provided. Invest responsibly and never invest more than you can afford to lose. Let's start with Cardano because honestly, price action has been very slow. On the higher time frames, ADA has been moving sideways below key resistance for quite a while now. There's very little momentum at the moment, which usually means the market is preparing for a bigger move. Right now, as long as Cardano stays below resistance, a move toward the 318 cents support zone remains very possible. On the 4-hour Cardano chart, there isn't much structure to work with. You could argue that we're forming a small 1-2 setup, but the issue is that price is already sitting near the 786 Fibonacci retracement. If ADA fails to hold above 353 cents, then a drop toward 318 cents becomes the most likely scenario. As long as that support holds, the bigger structure stays intact. However, a breakdown below 278 0.275 would completely invalidate the current bullish structure. In that case, Cardano could enter a much larger corrective phase, potentially turning this move into a deeper ABC correction. So for now, support is absolutely critical. If ADA does hold support and we see strength return, the bigger bullish scenario remains a major third wave. In that case, my long-term target for Cardano is still around $3, but to even consider those levels, price must break above the bear market resistance band, reclaim the long-term downtrend, and eventually clear the $1.12 resistance, which has rejected price multiple times in the past. Now let's move over to Bitcoin, because that's where the real structure is developing. On the 4-hour Bitcoin chart, we're still forming a 1-2 setup. In previous videos, I mentioned that Bitcoin could still be in a corrective phase, and so far, that remains true. We haven't seen a confirmed impulsive move higher yet. The key level to watch right now is $73,000, which lines up with the 0.786 Fibonacci support of the previous move. As long as Bitcoin stays above this level, the setup for a strong third wave remains valid. Reclaiming and holding above the 4-hour RSI moving average would be a very strong signal that momentum is shifting bullish. If Bitcoin breaks above resistance near 83,000, that would confirm continuation, with much higher targets in play later in the cycle. On the downside, if Bitcoin loses $70,000, the structure turns bearish, and we could be looking at a deeper correction toward the mid-$60,000 or lower. Looking at Bitcoin on the daily time frame, something important has happened. Bitcoin has managed to reclaim the moving average and close above it. Historically, when Bitcoin does this after weeks of sideways movement, it often marks the beginning of a stronger upside move. Sideways consolidation usually signals bottom formation, not tops. Now briefly on Ethereum. The structure is very similar to Bitcoin. ETH is also forming a 1-2 setup, and if support holds, a third wave could push Ethereum toward the $4,000 level, potentially reclaiming the market support band. Switching back to Cardano on the weekly chart, price is still drifting toward the 0.786 retracement, and the RSI is approaching oversold territory. The last time ADA reached similar conditions was December 2022, which led to a strong recovery. Interestingly, we're once again in December, so while a final dip is possible, a bullish reaction would not be surprising. On the weekly Bitcoin RSI, price is still below a major trend line. Until that trend line is reclaimed, we can't confirm a full bullish continuation. If Bitcoin drops further, it could enter oversold territory, which historically tends to happen during C-wave corrections rather than the first leg down. Finally, let's look at USDT dominance. It has reached overbought levels again, and historically, when USDT dominance starts falling from these zones, Bitcoin tends to move higher. A decline in USDT dominance would be a very bullish signal for the overall crypto market. At the same time, Bitcoin dominance is approaching a critical resistance near 60%. A breakout above this level would be bearish for altcoins, while a rejection and drop below 58.4% would signal renewed strength in altcoins like Cardano. Cardano remains range-bound and dependent on support holding. Bitcoin is consolidating and showing early signs of strength, but confirmation is still needed. The next major move will likely decide the direction for the entire market. Let me know in the comments where you think is heading next. If you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell icon for daily Cardano updates and in-depth crypto analysis.